The Outcast's Return. The massive chamber of the Galactic Senate stretched upward for what seemed like miles, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 1,000 different star systems. Sarah Chen stood at the center of the speaking platform, her hands steady despite the weight of representing all of humanity. Around her, delegates from 200 alien civilizations watched with eyes, sensors, and organs she couldn't even name. The Valdari Prime Minister rose from its hovering throne, its translucent body pulsing with colors that Sarah's translator converted into words. The being's voice echoed through the chamber like the sound of breaking glass. The Galactic Senate has reached its decision regarding the human question. After 3 cycles of deliberation, we have concluded that humanity poses an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. Sarah felt her heart sink, though she kept her face neutral. Behind her, the small human delegation of 30 representatives remained silent. They had expected this outcome, but hearing it spoken aloud still hurt. Marcus Rivera, Earth's military advisor, placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. The Prime Minister continued, its form shifting between solid and liquid states as it spoke. Humans demonstrate unprecedented adaptability that threatens established evolutionary patterns. Your species learns too quickly, changes too rapidly, and spreads with alarming efficiency. In merely 50 standard years since first contact, humanity has developed technologies that took other species millennia to achieve. A murmur ran through the vast assembly. The Korvath delegation clicked their mandibles in agreement, while the ethereal nebula singers hummed their approval. Sarah noticed that not all species seemed pleased with the decision, but none spoke in humanity's defense. Therefore, the Prime Minister announced, effective immediately, all humans must withdraw from galactic space. Your trade agreements are terminated. Your colonies on the 3 granted worlds must be abandoned. You have 100 standard days to complete your evacuation. Sarah stepped forward to the speaking crystal, her voice amplified throughout the chamber. Prime Minister, members of the Senate, I ask you to reconsider. Humanity has contributed medical breakthroughs, agricultural innovations, and cultural exchanges that have benefited many worlds. Our adaptability could be an asset to the galaxy, not a threat. The Zephyrin ambassador, a being of pure energy contained in a mechanical shell, interrupted with a harsh burst of static. Your medical breakthroughs cure diseases faster than nature intended. Your agricultural methods produce yields that disrupt planetary ecosystems. Your art and music spread like viruses through our youth. Everything humans touch changes too quickly. Sarah wanted to argue that change wasn't inherently bad, but she could see the fear in their various forms of eyes. They weren't afraid of human weapons or aggression. They were afraid of human influence, of how quickly humans learned and adapted to new environments. She remembered how human traders had learned 17 alien languages in the time it took most species to master one, how human engineers had improved Korvath shield technology within months of seeing it, how human artists had created fusion styles that combined elements from 12 different cultures, creating something entirely new. The Prime Minister raised what might have been an arm for silence. The decision is final. Commander Chen, you will escort all human citizens back to your home system. The quarantine field will be activated around Sol space once the evacuation is complete. Any human vessel attempting to leave will be considered hostile. Sarah bowed slightly. A gesture she had learned showed respect to most galactic species. We will comply with the Senate's decision. But I want it on record that humanity leaves not as enemies, but as friends who hope for future understanding. As she turned to leave, the young Talarian ambassador, barely an adult by his species standards, stood up. His feathers ruffled nervously as hundreds of eyes turned to him. I wish to state for the record that Talaria votes against this decision. Humans showed us kindness when our colony ships malfunctioned. They asked for nothing in return. This is wrong. The Senate erupted in angry buzzes, clicks, and harmonics, but Sarah caught the young Talarian's 6 eyes and nodded her thanks. At least someone would remember humanity kindly. The walk back to the human quarters felt like a funeral march. The station's corridors, usually bustling with hundreds of species, seemed to empty as the humans passed. Some aliens turned away while others watched with what might have been curiosity or pity. In the human section, Sarah found chaos. Word had already spread through the quantum communication network. The 10,000 humans living on Galactic Station Prime were packing frantically. Children cried as they said goodbye to alien friends they would never see again. Scientists downloaded what data they could before their access was revoked. Merchants calculated losses from contracts that would never be fulfilled. Marcus Rivera pulled Sarah aside into a private conference room where the senior staff had gathered. Dr. James Liu, the chief scientist, looked exhausted. Ambassador Elena Volkov was arguing quietly with someone on her personal communicator. Captain Yuki Tanaka of the transport ship Horizon had already begun calculating evacuation routes. "How bad is it?" Sarah asked. 3 million humans spread across 47 locations, Captain Tanaka reported. The colonies alone have 1.8 million people. We'll need every human vessel plus whatever neutral traders we can hire. The Andromedans are offering transport assistance, Elena said, ending her call. Not publicly, but they'll help evacuate our people from the frontier colonies. Why? Marcus asked suspiciously. Because they remember when humans helped them during the Void Plague, Elena replied. Not everyone fears us. Dr. Liu pulled up a holographic display showing Earth and the solar system. There's something else. I've been monitoring Earth since the Senate session began. We're picking up unusual energy signatures from the home system. Massive construction projects, new orbital platforms, technologies we don't recognize. Sarah frowned. But Earth was supposed to maintain minimal development while we integrated with galactic society. Apparently not everyone got that memo, Liu said. The readings suggest Earth has been very busy these past 50 years. Whatever they're building, it's big. The evacuation began immediately. Human ships, cramped and overloaded, began the long journey back to Sol system. Sarah commanded the lead vessel, the Starbridge, a former colony ship retrofitted for diplomatic missions. The bridge crew worked in shifts, coordinating the massive exodus while avoiding hostile patrols from species eager to see humans gone. 3 weeks into the journey, something changed. They began receiving transmissions from Earth, but not on any frequency the galactic community monitored. The messages were encrypted in Old Earth languages, Sanskrit, Sumerian, Linear A, languages that predated spaceflight by millennia. Dr. Liu worked for days to decode them. When he finally succeeded, his face went pale. Sarah, you need to see this. The message was simple but shocking. Welcome home, wanderers. Earth remembers her children. The inheritance awaits on inheritance? Marcus asked. What inheritance? Before anyone could answer, sensor alarms screamed. A Korvath battle fleet had dropped out of hyperspace directly in their path. The lead vessel's commander appeared on the screen, its insectoid face expressionless but its body language aggressive. Human vessels, you are traveling too slowly. The Senate has reduced your evacuation deadline to 50 days. We are here to ensure compliance. Sarah knew this was harassment, pure and simple. The Korvath had always resented humanity's rapid advancement. We are complying with the evacuation order, Commander. There's no need for military escort. The Senate disagrees. Your fleet will accept our navigation commands and increase speed by 40%. Captain Tanaka whispered urgently. That speed will burn out half our older ship's engines. We'll lose people. Sarah made a decision that would have seemed unthinkable weeks ago. Commander, we decline your escort. We will continue at safe speeds to protect our civilians. The Korvath commander's mandibles clicked angrily. You dare refuse Senate authority? We're leaving as ordered, Sarah said firmly. But we won't sacrifice human lives to satisfy your timeline. If you want to start a war with refugees, the galaxy will judge you for it. The tension stretched for long moments. Then, unexpectedly, proximity alarms sounded on the Korvath ships. 3 vessels had appeared from nowhere, human designs but nothing in any database. They were sleek, dark, and somehow seemed to bend light around them. A new voice came over all channels, speaking in perfect galactic standard but with an unmistakably human accent. Korvath Fleet, this is Earth Defense Command. Our children are coming home. You will not impede them. The Korvath commander sputtered in confusion. Impossible. Earth has no military fleet. The treaties forbid it. Earth signed no treaties, the voice replied calmly. The colonies did. Earth has been preparing for 50 years for this moment. Stand down or face the consequences. The 3 mysterious ships did something that should have been impossible. They projected an energy field that simply moved the entire Korvath fleet 3 light-years to the left, depositing them in empty space. It wasn't an attack, just a dismissal, like brushing away an insect. The human refugees stared in stunned silence. Earth, their abandoned home, had developed technologies beyond anything the galaxy had seen. The mysterious ships escorted them the rest of the way home, never communicating beyond navigation assistance. As they approached the Sol system, Sarah gasped at what she saw. Earth's moon had been transformed into a massive shipyard. Mars bloomed with green and blue, fully terraformed in just 50 years. Orbital stations the size of small moons floated at Lagrange points. And around Earth itself, a shimmering aurora of energy that looked almost alive. "My God," Elena whispered. "What has Earth become?" The answer came as they crossed into Earth space. A figure appeared on their screens. An elderly woman with wise eyes and silver hair wearing a simple blue uniform with no insignia. "Welcome home, children of Earth," she said warmly. "I am Director May Wong of the Earth Collective. While you've been learning to play by galactic rules, we've been remembering what makes humanity special. We don't just adapt to the universe. We transform it." Humanity's true power. The star bridge descended through Earth's atmosphere, and Sarah Chen pressed her face against the viewport like a child seeing snow for the first time. The Earth below wasn't the blue and green marble she remembered from 50 years ago. Cities floated in the clouds, connected by streams of light. Forests grew in perfect spirals that seemed to pulse with bioluminescent energy. The oceans themselves glowed softly, as if lit from within. Director May Wong met them at the landing platform in what used to be New York City. The city now existed on 7 vertical levels, each one supporting different ecosystems. Trees grew downward from one level to form canopies for the level below. Waterfalls cascaded through the center, generating power as they fell. "How?" was all Sarah could manage to say. May smiled, her weathered face crinkling with amusement. "When the colony ships left and took most of our ambitious leaders with them, those of us who remained had a choice. Follow the galactic path of slow, careful development, or remember that humanity's greatest strength has always been our imagination unleashed." She led them to a transportation pod that moved without any visible propulsion system. As they traveled, May explained what had happened in their absence. "The galaxy fears us because we adapt quickly, but they misunderstand the source of our power. It's not that we learn fast, it's that we dream impossible dreams and then make them real." The pod stopped at a massive underground chamber where thousands of humans worked alongside machines that seemed almost organic. Dr. Liu stared at the technology with undisguised awe. "This is decades ahead of anything the Galactic Senate has." "Centuries," May corrected. "When we stopped trying to fit into their framework and started building our own, we discovered something incredible. Human consciousness, when properly networked and augmented, can reshape reality at the quantum level. We don't just use tools, we become them." She showed them to a viewing room where they could see Earth's defense grid. It wasn't ships or weapons in any traditional sense. Instead, the planet was surrounded by what looked like a living aurora, billions of nanomachines that responded to human thought, capable of reshaping matter and energy in real time. Marcus Rivera, the military advisor, watched the display with growing excitement. "This is why the Corvath fleet was moved. You didn't attack them, you just relocated them." "Violence is the failure of imagination," May said. "We can defend ourselves without destroying others." Over the following days, the 3 million evacuated humans were integrated into Earth's new society. It was a culture unlike anything they had experienced in galactic space. Art and science had merged into something transcendent. Children learned to paint with light itself. Musicians composed symphonies that could be felt in bones and souls. Engineers grew buildings from seeds that responded to human needs. Sarah found herself in meeting after meeting with Earth's leadership. Not a government in any traditional sense, but a collective consciousness where decisions emerged from the harmonized thoughts of millions. It was democracy evolved beyond voting, where every voice contributed to a living consensus. But not everyone was celebrating. Elena Volkov, ever the diplomat, voiced what many were thinking. "This is incredible, but we're still trapped in the Sol system. The quarantine field will activate soon. We'll be prisoners in paradise." May's expression grew serious. "We know. We've been monitoring galactic communications. The Senate is afraid. More afraid than you know. They've detected our advancements and are debating whether to destroy Earth entirely." The room fell silent. Sarah felt cold despite the perfect climate control. They wouldn't dare. Genocide is forbidden by every galactic law. "Fear makes beings do terrible things," May replied. "But we have a plan. We're going to show them that humanity isn't a threat to their way of life. We're an alternative to it. She led them to Earth's newest creation, a massive portal generator hidden beneath Antarctica. It wasn't a weapon, but a doorway, capable of opening passages to anywhere in the universe, bypassing the quarantine entirely. We could leave whenever we want, May explained. Explore other galaxies, find new homes among stars the Senate has never seen. But that's not the point. The point is to show them we choose to stay. Choose to be neighbors rather than conquerors. Before anyone could respond, alarms began sounding. Captain Tanaka's voice echoed through the facility. We have a problem. A massive fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. It's not just one species, it's all of them. The entire Galactic Senate fleet is here. They rushed to the command center where holographic displays showed the situation. Over 10,000 ships from 200 species surrounded the Sol system. The Valdari Prime Minister's ship sat at the center of the formation like a crystalline spider in a web of metal. A transmission came through on all channels. The Prime Minister's translucent form appeared, pulsing with angry reds and oranges. Humans of Earth, you have violated the Senate's trust. Your technology has advanced beyond acceptable parameters. You are developing weapons that threaten all life in the galaxy. Surrender immediately or face complete annihilation. Sarah started to respond, but May placed a gentle hand on her arm. Let me handle this. She opened a channel to the alien fleet. Prime Minister, members of the Galactic Senate, you are welcome in Earth space. We invite you to send representatives to the surface. See what we've built. Judge for yourselves if we are a threat. The response was immediate and harsh. No human tricks. Surrender or be destroyed. You have 1 standard hour to comply. May sighed and turned to the assembled humans. Well, we tried diplomacy. Now we show them what humanity has become. She placed her hand on a crystalline interface, and her consciousness merged with Earth's defense network. What happened next defied every law of physics the galaxy thought it knew. Earth's aurora expanded outward like a gentle wave, passing through every ship in the alien fleet. It didn't damage them, it simply turned off their weapons, their engines, their shields. The mighty armada hung helpless in space, but completely unharmed. Then Earth did something unprecedented. The planet began to sing, a harmonic frequency that resonated through space itself, carrying with it images and emotions. Every being in the fleet suddenly saw Earth's history, the wars, the peace, the struggles, the triumphs. They felt human joy, human sorrow, human hope. They experienced what it meant to be a species that refused to accept limitations. The young Talarian ambassador, who had defended humanity in the Senate, was aboard one of the ships. He later described feeling as if he understood for the first time what inspiration meant. The concept didn't exist in his language, but after touching human consciousness, he would spend years trying to explain it to his people. The Aurora gently moved each ship to a safe distance, then restored their systems, but something had changed. Throughout the fleet, younger members of each species were asking questions. Why did they fear change? Why did they resist growth? Why had they chosen stagnation over possibility? The Valdari Prime Minister appeared on the screen again, but its colors were muted, confused. What have you done to us? We've shown you who we are, May replied. Not conquerors or threats, but dreamers. We don't want to destroy your way of life. We want to show you that there are other ways to live. The universe is vast enough for all of us. Sarah stepped forward, finding her voice. You rejected us because we changed too quickly. But change isn't the enemy. Fear of change is. We're going to keep growing, keep learning, keep becoming more than we were yesterday. You can try to stop us or you can grow with us. The Prime Minister's form shifted through a spectrum of colors, confusion, fear, and finally, something that might have been curiosity. The Senate must deliberate. We will withdraw for now, but this is not over. The fleet began to retreat, but not all at once. Some ships lingered, their crews apparently divided. The young Talarian ambassador's ship actually moved closer to Earth before his superiors ordered him back. As the last alien vessel disappeared into hyperspace, Mee released her connection to the defense network and sagged with exhaustion. Sarah caught her, helping her to a chair. That was incredible, Sarah said. But they'll be back, won't they? May nodded weakly. Yes, but not as enemies. At least not all of them. We've planted seeds of doubt in their certainty, seeds of wonder in their fear. Some will grow, some won't. But that's the nature of change. Marcus asked the question everyone was thinking. What now? Do we stay in the Sol system? Do we leave? We do both, May answered, her strength returning. Some humans will stay here, continuing to build and grow. Others will take our new ships through the portals to explore galaxies the Senate has never imagined. And some, she smiled at Sarah, some will stay at the border, ready to welcome any species brave enough to choose growth over fear. Over the following months, Earth became something unprecedented in galactic history, a world that existed both within and outside the established order. The quarantine field was activated, but Earth's portals rendered it meaningless. Humans could leave whenever they wished, but most chose to stay, building a civilization that served as a beacon to the galaxy. Small groups of aliens began arriving secretly, young scientists frustrated with their species' stagnation, artists seeking new forms of expression, philosophers questioning ancient assumptions. Earth welcomed them all, sharing knowledge freely, asking only that they contribute their own unique perspectives to humanity's great experiment. The Galactic Senate met in emergency session after emergency session, debating what to do about the human question. Some species called for war, others for negotiation, still others for isolation. But the younger generation of many species watched Earth's broadcasts, yes. Earth was broadcasting its achievements across the galaxy, and wondered why their elders were so afraid. Sarah Chen became Earth's first ambassador to the displaced, those aliens who chose to learn from humanity, despite their government's objections. She established embassies on asteroids and abandoned stations at the edge of Sol space, creating neutral ground where species could meet and exchange ideas. Dr. Liu led scientific collaborations that shouldn't have been possible, working with rebel Korvath engineers who had been inspired by human innovation, and Zephyrin artists who wanted to merge energy manipulation with human creative expression. The results were technologies and art forms that neither species could have achieved alone. Captain Tanaka commanded Earth's new exploration fleet, ships that could travel to other galaxies in moments through the portal network. They brought back wonders beyond imagination, crystalline beings that existed in 11 dimensions, ecosystems based on dark matter, civilizations that had transcended physical form entirely. Each discovery expanded humanity's understanding and capabilities. The change came slowly to the galaxy, but it came. 5 years after humanity's expulsion, the first species, the Andromedans who had helped with the evacuation, formally requested to learn Earth's technologies. They were willing to risk Senate censure for the chance to grow beyond their current limitations. 10 years after, a quarter of the galaxy's younger generation had made secret pilgrimages to Earth. They returned to their worlds changed, carrying new ideas that their elders couldn't suppress no matter how hard they tried. 20 years after, the Galactic Senate faced a crisis. Half its member species were experiencing internal revolutions, not violent ones, but revolutions of thought. The young demanded change, growth, the right to choose their own paths rather than follow patterns set millions of years ago. The Valdari Prime Minister, now old even by its species standards, made one final journey to Earth. It came alone, without escort or ceremony. Sarah, now elderly herself but still sharp, met the being in a garden where Earth's transformed nature created beauty that defied description. "You were right," the Prime Minister admitted, its form now showing colors Sarah had never seen before, colors that might have been hope. "We feared you because you showed us what we had forgotten, that life is meant to grow, to change, to become more. We built a static paradise and called it civilization. You built a dynamic future and called it human." Sarah smiled, offering the alien leader a seat beside her. "It's not too late. The universe is vast and there's room for all of us to grow. Humanity doesn't want to rule the galaxy. We want to explore it with friends." The Prime Minister's form shimmered, and for the first time in its long life, it attempted something its species had never done. It laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Friends, yes, I think it's time the galaxy learned what that truly means." The quarantine field came down the next day, not with fanfare or ceremony, but quietly, as if it had never existed. Ships began traveling freely between Earth and the galaxy. The Senate didn't formally apologize, that wasn't in their nature, but they issued a new declaration. Humanity was recognized as a sovereign galactic civilization with full rights and privileges. But Earth had moved beyond needing the Senate's approval. Humanity had become something new, not conquerors of the galaxy but its gardeners, planting seeds of possibility wherever beings were brave enough to let them grow. The story of humanity's rejection and return became legend throughout the galaxy, told in different ways by different species. But they all agreed on one point. When the stars cast humanity out, Earth called them home. And in coming home, humanity found not just their world, but their destiny, to be the catalyst that transformed a static galaxy into a living, growing, dreaming universe. As Sarah stood in her garden, watching human and alien children play together among the bioluminescent flowers, she thought about how far they had come. The galaxy had rejected them for changing too quickly. But that rejection had been the greatest gift. It had forced humanity to remember who they truly were. They were the species that looked at impossible things and asked, why not? They were the dreamers who refused to accept limitations. They were the adaptable ones who transformed every challenge into an opportunity. They were human. And the universe would never be the same.